Howdy. So I had a great question from someone who said, I'm full, I keep getting new referrals. It makes sense to hire someone and take a percentage. So where do I start? Can I just take on one person as a contractor without jumping through all the hoops to make sure that I like it? So, well, first I want to thank TherapyNotes for sponsoring. There are probably generally two types of people who follow abundance. Those who always wanted a private practice, and those whose work situations suck so bad that they're willing to take the leap. Many of those in the sucky work situations are in these situations because whoever owns it just decided to try something out without creating the infrastructure, without getting the training, and then it grew. And then it grew some more. And going back and doing things right takes a lot of time and energy. And when you've got a bunch of balls in the air, it's just harder to go back and do it the right way. So I totally get that taking on more people feels like it makes sense, right? Like feels like it's the next step. Why lose out on the income? Why not solve all these problems for the clients, for a clinician who doesn't want a private practice but wants kind of a private practice lifestyle? You are solving a lot of problems by having a group practice. It's a win-win all the way around when it's done right. So I would say to anybody who's considering whether or not they want to do it, rather than hiring somebody and that person then being reliant on you for their income, for their family's well-being, that's a lot of pressure, I'll also say. Rather than taking on that pressure as a look-see to see if it's something you want to do, I would encourage you to instead learn all about how to do it right first and decide if that's something you're willing to do, if it makes sense for your life right now. I always recommend the group practice exchange. I'm not paid or perked in any way, but for recommending them. But the group practice exchange is where I learned how to be a group practice owner. Maureen does great work. So I would join. She's got a membership site similar to the party, except just for group practice owners. And so it's a lower cost investment because it's a membership site. So go in, learn how to do it right, talk to all these other group practice owners who are in there to get the real life pros and cons. It's a place where people are really honest in there, because there are some cons that people aren't going to necessarily post in the really big Facebook groups where their employees or contractors may be hanging out. I will also say there is absolutely no shame in staying a solo practitioner and referring those people out that are calling you. Your life will be simpler as a solo practitioner. I have one employee. The only reason I have that employee is because of circumstances brought us together. I already knew her. She's an absolute unicorn. Like, I will never find anybody like her again. I mean, not to be defeatist, but I don't really want to. Like, she fell in my lap in a non-sexual harassment way. She fell in my lap and it was a great fit. And when she goes into private practice, which she will at some point, I am not going to replace that position. Not because she's not great, but just because group practice ownership, when done right, is more work than any of us who've ever worked in a group practice understand and know about. The overhead is a lot higher. It's why the percentages are crazy sometimes. So if you're considering taking on contractors or employees, and I'm going to say to do employees, if you're considering taking them on, learn first before you hire, because you might find that as you learn, you decide it's not something you want to do. Or you might be like, this is exactly the kind of challenge I'm up for. So there are other ways to optimize. If you're getting that many referrals, feel free to raise your rates. You are not going to be in dire straits if you raise your rates, if you're that full, and it might make you're keeping your life simpler and able to focus on other things easier. And if you learn and you want to do it, by all means do a group practice. When done right, they can be beautiful, amazing opportunities for your community, for the employees, and for the owner. I hope that that's helpful, and I'll talk to y'all later.